Okay, so we are live. This is Scarlett Rocourt. I am the creator of Wonder Curl, a line of products for natural and curly hair. And this is the Beauty Supply Success webinar. And I have Charlene Cook, who is the owner of Go Natural 24/7, and she also consults with other business owners. And quickly, just wanted to give you a brief background on me. So again, I am Scarlett, and I created Wonder Curl about 5 years ago because I was looking for products that would, give me the type of curls that I always wanted, which was, defined, shiny, healthy looking, soft, bouncy. And since I couldn't find those products, I decided that I was going to make them myself. And also, I have a marketing background. This is what I went to school for. And I wanted to find a way of giving back to the wholesale side of my business because I know that as long as the retail owners who carry my products are successful, I'm going to be successful. And I worked with Charlene for about 4 years now, ever since I started the wholesale side of Wonder Curl, and she's always been consistent with her orders. And I wanted to learn more about what makes her a success and why is her store in Oklahoma still thriving despite all of the different types of obstacles and challenges that we face every day. And so Charlene is the CEO of Go Natural 24/7. She has served in the military and she's worked in both private and public sectors. She's a licensed natural hair stylist, which means she has a passion for our hair, which is really great and rare in this climate that we have today. And she holds a master's in human resources, and she's the mom of two amazing children. So we are going to go. So Charlene, it's all you.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining this webinar today. I'm super excited to have this opportunity to talk with you on and provide different tips on how you can make your beauty supply store successful. Our company has also expanded, and we also offer consulting services to beauty supply owners. And so if you have questions on how to help your beauty supply grow, please feel free to reach out to me after the webinar. You can reach me on Google+. Scarlett will share that link with you. Or you can also email me at gonatural247@gmail.com. So if you're ready to get started, I'm definitely ready.
Awesome. So, what I think a lot of people want to know, because we have people who have signed on that have, they've had a store for several years. Some people have just gotten started. Some people are thinking about getting started. So what are the top 3 things that someone who is going to open up a brick and mortar store, what should they think about?
Okay. So the top 3 things that you should consider if you're planning on opening a brick and mortar store or if you're an existing business, number one, you need to look at cost. It's important that you examine your assets, your expenses, and determine if you need financing. I always tell everyone that they need to start small and grow big. Even millionaires, when they decide that they want to start a business, they usually start off small and expand into something bigger. You don't want to go out and invest $100,000 in a business without really doing proper planning. So, number one, make sure that you understand the costs that are involved with starting a small beauty supply store. The other thing that you need to look at is your target market. So who are your customers going to be? Don't start off saying, oh, everyone's going to be my customer. I hear that a lot. And of course, we want everyone to be our customer, but you need to be very, very specific. For instance, it would be better to say that your target market would be women between the ages of 25 to 45 years old who earn, let's say, about $50,000 a year. And then even with that, you can get more specific and say that you want to reach out to maybe African American women, Hispanic women, biracial women. But it's very, very important that you identify your target market. The other thing to consider is communication. That's a big one. When it comes to communication, the number one thing that you need to do is data mining. You need to be able to collect the data. Never forget to take an opportunity to collect data. The ways that we collect data is through our point of sale system. Another thing that we use to collect data is, like, for instance, we use Constant Contact, and so that's embedded on our website. And whenever we go to events, we have forms or electronic media ready to collect data. Everywhere we go, we make sure that we collect data from our customers. Once you receive that data, then you need to use it for social media marketing. You want to let your customers know your YouTube page, your Facebook, Instagram, every social media platform that you're on, your customers need to know about it so that they can support your business and so that they can keep abreast of all of the different activities that you have going on. Also, you want to use the data that you collect for email marketing, text marketing, electronic or print newsletters, and or e-magazines. And also, one other thing that's really important is that you want to use that information to let your customers know about events that you're having in store and also about different vendor opportunities that you plan on participating in the future. Customers want ways to be connected with you, and it's our responsibility to make sure that we reach out to them every time we have something going on. And even when we don't have anything going on, you want to communicate with your customers. And I know we said 3, but I have to talk about 4. If you're starting a business or you're already in business, you have to consider the commute and the location. Now, if you're already in business and you've already picked a location, if you're not in a good location, I know you're already feeling the pains and the struggles of that decision. But when your lease is up, or before your lease is up, you could be looking for a more ideal spot. So for new business owners, a lot of times we hear that old saying, if you build it, they will come. I always say if they can find you. And if the commute is within a reasonable distance. And that does matter. We hear it every day. We have customers that are so excited that we're really close to them. Then you have other customers who don't mind traveling. They don't mind if they come 30 to 45 minutes to come to our store. And then you have others who say, well, you're kind of far, so only come here maybe once a month. And so I quickly say to them, well, we have an online store. We do mail order. We do telephone orders. Always have a backup plan so that your customers can still get those products in a reasonable amount of time. Because even if they're local and they don't want to travel 30 minutes to come see me, if I can ship to them, I'll still get it to them faster than you would get it from a manufacturer. So keep that in mind. And so those are my basic tips for someone who's thinking about opening a brick and mortar.
Those are really great, because one thing that I've seen with some of the stores is that they're not engaging their customers, on a regular basis. So definitely, I think having that engagement that's both offline, meaning in the stores, and then online using social media, and also texting them. And I think texting is something that isn't utilized enough. People are always looking at their phone. So if you could just say, hey, we're having a sale, and today, stop by this store and get an additional 20%. I think that's a great way of getting more traffic into the store.
Exactly.
Yep, and in location, right? You want to make sure that you're visible to everybody, and that people who didn't even know you existed are like, oh, 24 Go Natural, what's that about? And they want to pop in,
Exactly. And that happens a lot because we're on a high traffic area street, and so we get a lot of random visits. Like they say, oh, I saw Go Natural. I wondered what you sold, and then they're pleasantly surprised when they come in and find out that we sell, natural hair care products and offer a variety of services. So you definitely want to be on the street with a high traffic count. Don't make your customers have to figure out where you're at.
Right. So it's not always about getting the cheapest rent, but it's getting the bang for your buck.
Exactly.
So, so what do you think separates Go Natural 24/7 from the other beauty supply stores? Why do you think that you've been so successful over all these years when other stores are closing?
Well, the number one thing is that you need to develop a unique selling proposition. And what I mean by that, there has to be something about your business that stands out, that's different than your competition. And to me, in the natural hair arena, there are so many things that you could be doing to help your business stand out. Um, at Go Natural 24/7, there are so many things that we utilize to make ourselves stand out from the competition. But I'm just going to talk about three. And there are three basic things that you could start implementing today. And so number one is offering exceptional customer service. It sounds so simple, but a lot of companies fail on this very thing. Our whole intent is that when our customers come into our store, we want them to leave better than they came in. If they walk out, if they walk in happy and they walk out happy, we're satisfied. If they walk in sad, we want them to walk out happy. And so we make sure we give them a great, great experience. Some of the things that we do is once they come into our store, we greet them with a warm welcome. We also ask them immediately if they need help with anything. If they say yes, then we immediately go over and help them. If they say no, we give them their space. We've all been in stores where we go in and, someone says, well, first of all, they may not even greet you. That's number one. Number two, if they do greet you and they ask if you need assistance and you say no, they kind of still lurk around like they're following you. You never want a customer to feel as if they're being followed, as if they're going to take something from the store. And so we leave them alone and we let them shop. And when they're ready to ask questions, they know what to do and they know who to ask. Another thing that we really think sets us apart is product knowledge. You have to know what you sell. It's not enough to get your products, place them on a shelf, and expect them to sell themselves. You really, really need to know what you're selling. If you don't understand how to use your product, reach out to the manufacturer. They will help you. One of the things that I do to help our staff understand how to use the product is that we actually use the product on our customers during consultations. I use different products when I'm styling my customers' hair, but I have to go back to the consultations. We offer in-store product demos. So customers have an opportunity to try before they buy. They book an appointment, they come in with their hair washed and conditioned. We talk to them about texture, hair typing, and a variety of different things that's personalized just for them. And then we begin to test different products on their hair based on their needs. And so if you begin to use the products, then you're better able to sell the products. So keep that in mind. And then finally, this one I found to be pretty interesting. When we first started our business, we had a lot of customers coming in to our store and they would say things like, "Oh, it's so clean in here." And I thought, really? It's supposed to be clean. I mean, I didn't understand it. And at first I was offended because I thought, what did you expect? When we first started our business, our thought was we wanted it to feel very warm, very inviting, almost like when you come into our house, it's like being in a den at our house. You come in, there's chairs for you to sit down on. We went and we bought furniture from IKEA because it's very nice. And what you have to look at is you're selling an upscale product. If you're in a natural hair arena, you're selling upscale products. Our price points are not like typical beauty supply stores. So if someone's going to come in and spend $15 for an 8-ounce jar, then I think the atmosphere should reflect that. So it's not a hard thing to do to upgrade your space with a fresh coat of paint, with nice pictures on the wall. The music that you play, all those things really kind of, have a lot to do with the ambiance and experience that people get when they come into your store. So just consider those things, keeping your space neatly organized and clean, knowing the products that you sell, and offering exceptional customer service. Those are the things that make Go Natural 24/7 stand out amongst the crowd. And again, there are many, many other things that we do, but those are just a few things that you can begin to implement within, a day or within the upcoming weeks.
Right. So it sounds like you're doing more than just being, a beauty supply store. You're not just selling products. You're also educating your customers on their hair, because a lot of times I would say, Black women who go natural, they're not as savvy on their hair, because it's like working with a whole new different head of hair, right?
Right. Very true. And so you do need to provide information, and don't think that everyone that comes into your store spends hours, countless hours on YouTube or countless hours on different blogs. There's a lot of people who come in and they honestly, they're just new, they're green. They have no idea what to do with their hair. Some come in crisis, and you need to be prepared for that and ready to address their issues.
So it's almost like you're a salesperson, you're almost a stylist, and you're a therapist all in one, right?
Exactly, exactly.
So that also pulls me into the next question, which is why are some stores failing and others succeeding?
Well, to keep this simple, we'll just focus on two things, and there are many more, but to me, planning and positioning are the two most important things that I have identified as to the reason why some brick and mortars fail and why others succeed. Sometimes we have a great idea, and we just take it and we run with it. We never take the time to actually do a business plan. Now, I have heard people say things like, "Oh, I don't need a business plan unless I need financing." True, but you also need a business plan to help you stay focused. I always say, a builder would not build a house without a blueprint. And so an entrepreneur should never start a business without a plan, period. You need this plan to give your company direction and focus. It's critical that you use this plan for your day-to-day operations to stay aligned with your vision. And the great thing about a business plan is it can change. It's flexible. It can change as your business changes. But at least you always have something to go back to, because if you don't have a plan, then you will find yourself all over the place. You'll be selling peanuts and, I don't know, you'll just come up with things that just don't relate to your business. And so it's so important that you, number one, initiate a plan, establish a plan for your business. Make sure it includes in-depth financials and in-depth marketing. Whenever you create a plan. If you don't know how to do a business plan, you can reach out to someone like myself or someone else that you know who can help you. And also reach out to your local SBA and other organizations like that. They can help you fine-tune that business plan. Another thing is positioning. The thing about positioning, for us, the way that we help position ourselves in the marketplace is by conducting a SWOT analysis. That SWOT analysis allows you to evaluate your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That is in comparison to the competition. And so one major benefit of a SWOT analysis is that it can actually give you an opportunity to gain a competitive edge in the market. So never neglect the opportunity to do a SWOT analysis on your business. And do it frequently. We don't just do it once and then never do it again. We usually do ours every 4 months. So keep those things in mind when you're thinking about the success of your business, because you don't have to fail. There's just so much room for you to grow when you do it the right way.
Right, I agree, because so many people are going natural, and we know that it's an industry that's growing. When you see the huge companies who were making relaxers are now scrambling to get their version of natural hair products out on the market, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So like, because I also have a business plan and I revisit it every year, and every few months I'm always looking at it and saying, am I doing what I should be doing? Where else should I focus? What am I missing out on? So it is important, like as a business person, even if no one ever sees your business plan but it's a way to get your brain to think about, what am I missing?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think as you were saying about having that focus, because when you're saying, like, people come into your store and they're like, oh wow, it's so clean, because you're also focused on, I'm selling products for hair and skincare and beauty. You go into some stores and they're like selling just about everything. It's almost like going into a general store. There's no
Exactly.
right. And I think going back, because you were talking about the product knowledge,
Yes.
right? So, because you get like a lot of questions from customers, what is this? What does this do?
We get tons of questions, and I don't know is never acceptable for us. If we feel like we don't know the answer, we're big on, okay, we will research it and we will get back to you. That is so important. As a business owner. I feel like, for instance, we may have customers who come in and just ask a general question. I have migraines. I don't really know how to deal with it, but I don't want to take a prescription. I need something natural. So immediately what comes to mind is, okay, let's try lavender oil with a carrier oil such as sweet almond oil. So if you sell essential oils, it's critical that you understand what each essential oil does. You know, it's not acceptable to say, I don't know if this will work for you. You should know it. If you sell it, you need to know what it does. Because actually, when you say, I don't know, you're actually losing out on potential business, you know. And I think your customers, you owe it to your customers to know what you're selling. You really do.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So do you feel like all of these things, that's what helps you to stay profitable? Is there anything else that you wanted to add on?
Well, okay. So when we talk about staying profitable, the number one word that comes to mind is diversification. Just like when we invest, they always say don't put all your eggs in one basket. So it's the same for an entrepreneur who has a business or a retail store. You need to diversify. There are so many different ways that you can bring in revenue. And again, I've only mentioned three. Don't feel limited by these three. There's so much more that you can do. So number one, if you're a licensed stylist like me, you can offer salon services, and that will be an extra source of revenue. Or you can offer consultations or do a combination of both. When we do our product demos, we do charge a fee because there's a cost for the products that we use for our product demos. And then also there's a cost for your service. And you'll be just surprised to know that most customers don't mind paying for the consultation because when they walk out, they know that they're getting a product that's actually going to work for their hair. So that's one way to increase your revenue. Also, if you have space, don't let that space go to waste, you know. Sorry for rhyming, but make sure that you're taking every opportunity to host events. Customers want information. They love the opportunity to come to your store, to participate in events, and they don't mind paying for those events. So host events at your store at every given opportunity. Maybe once a month would be a good place to start, or if you're really, really new at this, you can maybe do quarterly events. The other thing that you can do is if you have the space and it's available for leasing, you could lease your space so that others can host events in your space. Finally, another way to generate revenue or to stay profitable is if you have a publication, an in-store publication, consider selling advertising space. So you'll be amazed, like if you have a large reach, let's say you're a small retail store, but you have a 10,000 you have 10,000 people in your database. You could sell ad space to local companies to reach out to those customers that you already have access to. So those are just three things, again, that you can do today. Like I said, there's more things that you can do. Some of them take a little bit more work, a little more initiative, but the goal here today is things that you can take away from this webinar and implement within the next 24 to 48 hours. So those are three things that you could think about.
Great. And you know, one thing, another thing that I've noticed, which kind of touches on the selling ad space, I find that working with other business owners in your immediate area, in your community, reaching out to them and kind of like partnering with them, right?
Exactly, definitely. And we do that all the time. All the time. Never neglect that opportunity. One of the things that we're working on now, since you mentioned that, is a newsletter locally for all the new small businesses or any small independent retailer. We're wanting to do like an advertisement, a little publication, so everyone in the local market knows that you have these little independent businesses right here in your city. You can stop ordering online, or you don't have to go to just big box retailers. Shop local, and so that's something that we're actually teaming with other retailers to do.
Well, that segues into my next question then. Since you talked about the big box stores, like a lot more natural hair products that were once, that are still, small business owners are going into the Targets and the Walmarts and the Sally Beauty Supply. So how are you able to compete with a big box store that was carrying or is carrying the same products that you are? How do you feel that you're working towards that or with that?
For me, again, I focus on, rather than focusing on fear, focus on filling in the gaps. Um, that SWOT analysis that we talked about earlier really comes into play here. As a small independent retailer, it's much easier to implement change. It's easier for me to make change than it would be for Walmart to make change because there's so many layers of management. But with our business, we have a board and we don't have to have a board, but we chose to have a board to help us with decision making. But again, it's really our decision in the end as to what changes we implement. So if a customer comes in and they recommend something and we think it's a good recommendation, we implement the change almost immediately. It's easy for a small business to beat a big box by offering some of the things that we discussed earlier: good customer service, product knowledge, finding your USP or your unique selling proposition. There's so many things that big box retailers don't have time to focus on. It doesn't mean it's not important, but they don't have the time to focus on it or they're not thinking about it. So use anything that you have to your advantage to beat big box retailers. Again, you're not going to go into Target or Walmart or CVS and Walgreens because these are some of our competitors, and find someone standing in the aisle or sitting in the aisle doing demos on product, on customers here. And another thing, you need to go and visit your local competition. And if you don't think that big box retailers are your competition, you're wrong. Not only are they your competition, but so are your independent local beauty supply stores, Ulta. And so when you're thinking about starting a business or making changes to your existing business, look at Ulta and Target and Walmart as an example of where you want to be. Start small, grow big. And so with that being said, I don't really think it's that difficult to compete against big box retailers if you keep doing what you do best.
Right. And I wanted to circle back a little bit because I was just thinking when, like with a Walmart, you almost can't compete with them with price, right? They can always undercut your price because you're a small business. You're not getting the same types of discounts that a Walmart would get, right? So how would so for the people who are kind of like nervous about that, and I've had conversations with business owners is that they were carrying a product, the customer saw it at Walmart and kind of got mad at them because they were selling it for more. Like, how would you handle something like that?
Well, one of the things that we do that helps us is that we actually have a customer loyalty program in place. So when customers spend so much money with us, I can tell you exactly what it is. If they spend $150 with us, they get a $10 reward. And I know for a fact Walmart doesn't offer that. They may offer specials. They may have a lower discount. But every time you reach $150 in purchases with us, you always get $10 back every time. So it's not a one-time deal. So having that customer loyalty program in place, again, having that demo in place where customers know they can schedule an appointment and come in and get to try before they buy, they are more inclined to come and shop with us because they know we're more knowledgeable. They know that we'll let them try the products out to see how well they work. And again, they know that there's a benefit to purchasing with us because when they get to their, $150 limit and they get that printout on the receipt that, hey, you've earned your $10 reward, they get really excited about that, And so I think that's another way that you can compete against big box retailers. We cannot match their prices always. But I have to be honest with you, I have found that 9 times out of 10, our prices are pretty much comparable to the big box retailers. The only thing that we have a difficult time competing on is when they do BOGOs because sometimes they're able to work with the manufacturer to get that special deal. But otherwise, locally for us, we haven't run across that. But if you implement some type of loyalty program, I think that will help you retain your customers.
Awesome. And so when you are looking at manufacturers to put into your store, like what are you looking for?
There's a few things that we're looking for. After being in business for over 4 years now, we've learned quite a bit. And so brand reputation is really, really important to us. What's being said about different brands? Is it legitimate? How well does the brand market itself? Because you can think it's a great brand, you buy it, and then you sit it on your shelf and no one's purchasing it because they haven't heard about it, and so we do look at the reputation of a brand, how well it's marketed, and we look at the demand for the brand. So we have a lot of customers coming in sometimes and asking us, can you bring, let's say, Wonder Curl in, even though we already have it, and if we get a substantial amount of customers coming in asking us for that brand, then more than likely we're inclined to carry it. The other thing is ease of access to the brand. Sometimes customers want brands, but it's a difficult brand to access. And for us, a lot of times we're doing just-in-time inventory. We don't want to have a lot of product. We want to have just what we need. And so when it's time to reorder, how quickly can we get our shelves restocked? So those are some of the things that we look at whenever we're looking at bringing a new brand into our store.
And would you say, having a relationship, like if it's a big company, having a customer service representative that you can always talk to, or even having direct access to the owners?
Yes. Having access to an account executive at the very least is great. And if you have access to the owner, it's even better. And that's one of the things that I love about Wonder Curl, because Scarlett is very personal, and I can always reach out to her and get help with anything that we need. And so I think the more accessible the manufacturer, or like I said, if they have an account executive available for you, that really does help in our decision making about whether or not we want to carry the brand.
And when you're working with the brand as well, like you were mentioning, like doing demos and meetups, like having someone come in, like an expert coming into your store, right? Like,
yes,
that helps.
Yes, that definitely helps. Anytime. Now, let's say this. If you are in a city, the same city that several or even just one of your manufacturers reside in, you definitely need to reach out to them and connect and see if you can do in-store events. I think it's so nice when your customer base can actually have an opportunity to connect with the actual manufacturer. Yes, we need to be knowledgeable, but nobody can share a brand story like the manufacturer. So if you are like in Atlanta, New York, New Jersey, areas like that, and there are a lot of manufacturers in those areas, if you're not reaching out to them, you're doing yourself a disservice. I'm kind of, mid-USA. I'm not from here, but this is where I live, and it's not always as easy to get, national and regional manufacturers to come in. But if you're in those cities, you definitely need to make sure you're reaching out to your manufacturer and trying to do as many in-store visits as you possibly can.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when I'm in a certain town, if I know I'm going to be traveling, I try to reach out to the stores that carry the products, and even some other stores, and say, hey, I'm going to be in the area. I'd love to come in, do a free demo. Because that's the other thing, like you were saying before, I can tell people how amazing the products are, but they won't believe it until they actually see it happening before their eyes.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah. So how do you get and keep your customers? Like, especially for, I would say, people who are just getting started, because you already have probably like a base of people that you have your repeat customers. But if you're just getting started and you've never, it's your first time opening up a store, how do you feel like people could get more customers in?
The number one thing that you need to do if you're just opening a store, in order to attract new customers, is you need to get on social media. I mean, everybody's on social media. If you look at most customers, they're using their phones nowadays to connect. And so if you're not on social media, again, you're doing yourself a big disservice. When we first started, that's how we actually got our first few clients. It was through social media. And so we haven't been as great as we should be on social media, but we are definitely working to reconnect with that audience. And remember, with social media, not only can you go on there, you can post, but you can advertise. And so take that opportunity to engage with your customers through advertising on social media. You can also listen on social media to see what it is that customers are interested in, so that you can know what brands to carry. And then once you get those brands in store, then again, go back to social media to promote the fact that you have those brands. Use the hashtags because that really, really, really helps. I can't stress the need for social media enough. If you don't like it personally, there's a difference between liking social media on a personal level and then needing to do it on a professional level. So if you feel like you just can't do it, then hire someone who can come in and take care of that for you. It's just definitely something in this day and age that you cannot afford to do without. Make sure you're on social media. And to piggyback on what I said earlier, we offer incentives like the loyalty programs. Another thing that we do is we offer special discounts to military, to licensed cosmetologists, and we're also looking at expanding that in the future to maybe police officers and teachers and senior citizens. So you have to do things to make your customers feel special. The other things that we do is unexpected sales. Sometimes I may be in a different mood and I say, okay, you know what, we're doing, 20% off today, on this brand or maybe store wide. And so if you can afford to do that, which is why it's really critical to always assess your financials, but if it's something you can afford to do, even a 10% discount is better than nothing. And when customers don't expect it and they come into your store and they get a discount, it makes them feel really good. Finally, another thing that we do is we have a business card display because we realize that we're not the only ones in business. A lot of our customers are independent business owners as well, and so we give them an opportunity to display their cards at our business. And we also make sure that we support small businesses as well. We purchase from them, we support and sponsor some of their different events that they have going on. So a lot of networking, and returning that same care and concern back to our customers who support us each and every day. That's how we attract and retain our customers.
And just to probably like reedify a little bit more about social media, because as a marketing person, I've had so many people who were against social media. Just like you said, they don't like it for personal reasons. Why do I have to get a Facebook page? And I'm like, but that's where your people are. That's where they're searching. That's where they're getting information from. You don't have to post pictures of your baby, but you should be posting pictures of the products that you have and your customers that are happy with the products that you're selling to them, right?
Yes, exactly. Keep it professional, but keep it fun and keep it relevant. Pay attention to what your customers are wanting and what they're asking for, and make sure you're giving that information back to them. And never feel as if information is not worth repeating. Like, for instance, a lot of naturals, especially new naturals, don't know what all of the different acronyms are. So it doesn't hurt to post a natural hair dictionary on your page. I've talked to other retailers. They're like, well, everybody should know what that is by now. No. Every day a new natural is born, and so you need to make sure that you repost some of that content, and sometimes reach out to your manufacturers and share some of their content, and make sure you tag them every time you share, because not only are you growing your business, but you're also helping to grow their brand as well.
Those are really good tips, especially for people who aren't that familiar with Facebook. But let's not forget that Instagram is a great place to get a lot of engagement, and also Twitter. And what people aren't realizing is that it's free. Yes. Or to advertise on Facebook, you could advertise for $5 a day for as long as you want. If you say, oh, I have $10, I can advertise for 2 days and you can target it directly to the people in your area. I know when I do Facebook ads, I get to say they have to be interested in Curly Nikki, Naturally Curly. They like Essence Magazine, and just knowing who your audience is and what they're looking for as their interest, and then you can pinpoint it down to that location. And as a store, being able to get to your local audience, that target, is so important, and it's so easy with Facebook that I feel like there really isn't an excuse not to use Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and even Pinterest now has grown. Pinterest has grown even more and faster than Facebook and Twitter. Like, it's huge. So are you doing anything on Pinterest just yet?
I have an account and I do a lot of repinning from time to time. And again, we are actually revamping our entire social media market because, again, I was like many of you. I'm not a big social media fanatic or anything like that. I felt like, oh, I'm just over it. I don't want to do it. But I also have to go back to the basic fact that when we first got started, that's what we used. And we still use Facebook to advertise and Twitter, and Instagram is literally instant. It's just amazing. You have to really get out there and get on social media. And like I said, if you don't like to do it, find someone who's passionate about it to help you. Because if you don't get involved with social media, you are missing out on a lot of business. And just like Scarlett mentioned, you can do localized targeting to reach out to customers who may not even know you're in their local area. And for $5 a day, you can't beat that, you know. And you set your budget, and you'll be amazed that it really doesn't cost that much to advertise. If all you can spend is $100 for the month, I would say take that $100 and put it on social media, and you'll be amazed at your return on your investment.
Yeah, those I agree completely. That's usually where my very limited marketing budget goes towards all of the social media that's out there. And also, do you work with local bloggers?
Okay, so um, we probably, let's say this, in the very beginning, there were a few local bloggers who we actually did work with. We would share links on each other's sites. Um, Whenever there were events, we would do events together, and we still do that to a certain degree. I think personally, it's definitely to your advantage as a business to reach out to local bloggers, and that's an area that we could definitely work on enhancing. Um, One of the things, there's several benefits to reaching out to local bloggers. Number one, it can expand your reach, especially if you're a new business, you don't really have a database of customers. Reaching out to a local blogger gives you access to their database. They would share information about your new store opening and different events that you're doing. It never will hurt you to reach out to a blogger. Also, if it opens the door to further networking and partnership opportunities. So anytime you know of local bloggers, try to reach out with them. If you can make a good connection with them and you all have aligned visions, then I think it could be a win-win for both of you. If you if there's a sometimes there may be costs associated with reaching out to local bloggers. If it's too much, you can't afford to do that, then you can maybe hire someone. A lot of times I'll contract out work as well. And so you have Elance, Freelancer, or elancer.com. There's just a ton of contracting sites that you can go to outsource work if your budget is limited. And then also another option is you may have to do your own blogging if, again, you can't make that connection with a local blogger. I realize everybody's in different areas. You may not have a local blogger in your area that you can connect with. So sometimes you may have to become that blogger, but just remember content is key, and that's why reaching out with a local blogger could be very valuable to your organization, and you need to make it a win-win for both of you if you do reach out to a local blogger or vlogger.
Yeah, I think blogging over the years, probably like in the past 5 years, has become such a huge part of everybody's marketing budget, right? Even for me, I feel like as a manufacturer making products, audience, like my customers, they want to know, will it work for me? And finding a blogger who speaks to them and has the knowledge
Yeah.
that helps the customers to make better informed decisions, right?
Right, right.
So I would
And if a blogger is very popular in your local market, a lot of people depend and rely on what it is that they say. Um, just think about how big that could be for you to make that, connection. If that blogger has 20,000 people that follow them locally, and you reach out to them and they're willing to help promote your brand, that can make a drastic difference in your business tomorrow. So please don't neglect the opportunity to reach out to bloggers and bloggers in your area. And bloggers are those who do video blogs, so make sure you reach out to them as well.
Right. And you can always, if they have a website, they're looking for people to advertise on
Yes.
their pages. And I know a lot of them, it's not a lot of money. It would be like maybe $50 a month.
Right, right. But again, if they have 20, 30,000 people that they have access to, then $50 a month is actually not that bad for that type of reach. So, look at all your options.
Right, right. And so you're a business owner, you are a wife, a mom, you are a member of your community, like you have a lot going on. So two questions is, as a business owner, how do you stay on top of everything? Because we talked about social media and having your business plan and your SWOT analysis and keeping up with your customers. Like, so how do you stay grounded and organized with everything?
Family, friends, and automation. Those are my key components. Alignment is really critical. And so when you're looking at bringing somebody into your team, you need to make sure that they're aligned with your company vision. And I'm just fortunate that I have friends and family that I can trust who are reliable, who've been there to support our business throughout the years. And that's really, really made a difference. And I could not survive without automation. I'm not one for manual, entry, but I like kind of the set it and forget it concept. I plug my information in and then automatically I'm getting reminders on it. So I use a lot of applications. I use Google Calendars and just a lot of different resources to keep me up to date. Like my point of sale system, I couldn't just use just a regular register. We actually do have a point of sale software that we use so that we can gather data and we can pull reports. So automation is really key to being successful and to keep you, in compliance, especially when we're looking at taxes and things of that nature. It's so much easier to pull a report than to try to go through a whole bunch of receipts. I print my receipts, from my computer. So think automation if you don't think anything else. And just make sure that you have people around you, build a team that's aligned with your vision. I can't stress that enough because misalignment can hinder the success of your business. So always keep those things in mind.
Yeah. And I find like probably something that I've noticed a lot is finding staff that you can work with and that. So how do you find looking for your team as far as in the store goes?
For me personally, again, I've just been blessed with a good group of people who I just happen to have known for several years who've been able to help me. But when you're sourcing your staff, I think you, as a business owner, you need to be clear and concise about what your vision is. You can't expect someone to meet your requirements if you don't even know what they are yourself. And also, you need to, in being consistent, you need to ensure that you vet accordingly. So if you know that when you're doing your interviewing that the individuals that you're interviewing don't meet the requirements, don't settle. Get people you know that are going to support your vision. It's not always easy. It does take time. You're going to make a lot more mistakes before you actually make the best decisions, but be okay with making mistakes and use them as learning lessons. But I think critical interviewing, having a team of trusted friends and family who do know your vision to help you with the interviewing process can eventually get you to a place where you can have somebody that you can trust or several people that you can trust on your team.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's waiting for the right people as opposed to hurrying up and getting the wrong ones because you end up making a lot more hardship for yourself, right?
Yes, you do. And I mean, we've had to live and learn, and we've gone through those growing pains as well. But I think if we had not gone through those experiences, we wouldn't know um, how to make better decisions. And so it's okay to make those mistakes from time to time, but don't live or linger in your mistakes. So in other words, if you hire someone and they're not a good fit for your company, be okay with releasing them. If you can't get them to get on board, it's okay to release them and take your time to recruit someone else.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. So I always stress alignment because I think that's so critical. You have a brand, you have a reputation to withhold, and you need to make sure that whoever you bring in is in line with that.
Yeah, and it also comes back to, having that business plan, right? Because now you know what you want, so you can communicate that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Great. I mean, we have 10 more minutes left into the Beauty Supply Success webinar. So I don't know if anyone had any questions that they wanted to ask. So, we do have a question.
Okay.
The question is, how does an online store gain the trust of the target market when you're new?
Well, I'll tell you what we do, and we're always trying to perfect this. One of the things that you can do is whenever a customer is placed an order with your company, ship quick, ship very quick. Um, I think what we've seen is that oftentimes customers place orders and they're having to wait 3, 4, 5 days to get their, order just packaged before it even ships. If you have a reputation for shipping quickly, I think you will blow out your competition. So ship quick, have good customer service, be willing to address any issues that arise in a professional manner, because we have tried probably every shopping cart that's on the market. And one of the shopping carts that we tried, for some reason, our inventory was constantly off. And so we would have customers place an order, and then we're like, how did that happen? It clearly showed that there was zero inventory. How were they able to order? But we quickly communicated with our customers, and then we offered maybe a future discount on an item. So make sure that whenever you do encounter any problems, that you handle it promptly and professionally.
Great. Yeah, I feel like kind of following the Amazon model, because they're a huge company, but like I love ordering from Amazon because sometimes they ship it even faster, and I'm like, wait a minute, I was supposed to get it on Thursday, but I'm getting it tomorrow on Wednesday instead, right?
Right, and who doesn't love that?
Yeah, and I think also when you're an online store, you're also competing with a retail store.
Yes.
So there are some people who just don't want to go into, who are afraid of the internet. I have one customer, she's afraid of the internet, so she calls me to place her orders.
Yes. I understand.
So I think maybe also having, that option as well on your websites, if you call us, talk to us, you can place your order over the phone, having
Exactly.
different options and letting them know you're going to get it very quickly. So if you don't want to walk into a store, because sometimes I don't want to waste my gas money.
Right. I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we have any other questions? We have about 7 more minutes. I think that was the only question. So we only have like 7 more minutes left. Was there anything else that you wanted to let people know?
Trying to think. Um, don't be afraid to pursue your dreams. If you have desired to be a beauty supply, owner for years, step out on faith and just do it. But again, don't forget, planning is key. Reach out to other beauty supply owners and learn from them. Hopefully, they're willing to share some of the lessons learned with you, so that way you can know what to expect going forward. Um, Also know, for instance, like with us, we chose not to seek financing for our business. We want to be a debt-free company, and that's what we are today. Everything that we purchase, we own. If you have to reach out to friends, family, to invest in your company, then maybe you need to look at doing that. But don't let anything hinder your dreams. If it's something that you really, truly want to do, plan accordingly and just push through. And if you have questions, like I said, I'm here. I know how difficult it can be getting into the industry, but there is no greater time than right now to own a natural beauty supply, even with the big box retailers starting to carry more and more natural hair care lines. They don't carry everything. So don't let that be a fear or a concern.
Okay, we do have another question. So that question is, what type of media gets more traction? Pictures, info, tips, education?
Pictures. Pictures. I mean, people like to look at imagery, and before they read, if that picture stands out to them, they'll just share it. I mean, I saw an amazing picture today that I plan on reposting later. It was just absolutely gorgeous, and pictures capture the attention much faster on social media than the content will. And so, if you find just intriguing pictures, post that on a daily basis till you come up with some content. But do something on social media.
Yeah.
Tips are good too. People are looking for advice, but pictures are always going to capture your attention.
And I think it also it just depends on who you're talking to and what social media you're using. So obviously Instagram, it's all about posting pictures, but I've also found that you can even ask questions and people will put in their comments, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Um,
doing surveys.
yeah, like that's a great place to get a conversation started. And Facebook, because they changed the algorithms, you're not getting that level of engagement as much because your images, your pictures, or your questions aren't getting delivered because there's so much. It's kind of like their news feed is just inundated.
Yes,
So I like to use Facebook for direct advertising.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and
Like,
mhm.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say, like, if you're having an event, or if there's a brand that you know customers are really gonna be intrigued with, it doesn't hurt to do an ad on that brand just to increase your likes and also to increase the chances of your customers coming in store to make a purchase. And so I have found myself using Facebook for that more and more. And it's working out really, really good. We had an event a couple weeks ago, and we used Facebook to advertise it, and we within 2 days our event was full. So definitely don't miss that opportunity to capitalize on Facebook and other sources of social media.
Yeah. So I think if you're looking to just keep people interested and keeping fresh information, definitely just posting pictures. That's something that I do is find photos that people would relate to and kind of, like that hair envy type of photos. Um, those also work well just to keep people knowing that your Facebook page is there, Instagram is there, but if you're gonna put money into something, I say like the Facebook money.
Yes. Yeah. And also don't forget to use how-to videos as well, because a lot of naturals are styling their own hair and they love to watch the videos on how to do quick, easy styles, Like I have a lot of customers coming in and they want that 10-minute style or less. And so reach out, and get on YouTube and grab some of that content and share that on your page from time to time. Whenever you're looking, because I know sometimes if you don't have the financials to hire a social media, expert to assist you with that, you can, again, share content from your vendors, share pictures, share how-to videos, ask questions. That's at least 4 different things that you could do to help vamp up your social media page.
Yep. And we have time for one last question. So as a retailer, like as far as you know, can we repost images on social media without permission? Are there rules? Like, have you encountered anything?
If it's a original picture that I am using, if it's for a customer, I usually get permission personally. I always think that you need to make sure that you stay within, within a law and not to post pictures without permission. So if it's something that I have taken myself from one of my customers, I'm always going to get permission from them. That way we have that in writing. As far as the big brands go, if they post a picture, I'm just sharing it. I mean, everyone does it. And I'm not saying because everyone does it, it's the right thing to do, but I've never encountered a problem with sharing content from someone else. But I would say if it's your pictures that you've actually taken of your customers, whether it be family or friend, or otherwise, you need to make sure that you have them fill out a photo release form to make sure that it is okay to to post their pictures on social media and to
Yeah.
use it for other things.
Yeah, it's kind of become like a murky territory because, once you post a picture online, it's almost like you've lost access to it, or there's copyright laws. Whenever I go into a store, I was in a art store the other day, and I saw this beautiful sculpture, but I asked the owner permission. I said, is it okay if I take a photo? And she said, no, there are copyright rules. I said, okay, I understand. Because I know, like, once I put a picture out there, whether it's of me or one of my hair models, I kind of lose that copyright to them because it's going to get reposted. So I would say if it's a picture that you own, you took it, make sure that you watermark it.
Exactly, exactly. I was gonna say that. Make sure you put that watermark on there with your company name, so that way that helps your brand grow too. If everyone's sharing it and your name is on it, at Wonder Curl, that helps promote your brand even more. So make sure you tag it and watermark it. And then the other thing is stock photos. You brought that up and you made me think. You can't just go on Google. Like if you're looking for pictures for your advertising, it's not okay to go on Google and just download photos. You literally have to buy stock photo images if you don't already have a model to help promote your brand. So make sure that you're purchasing those images, because I have seen situations where manufacturers have contacted other people and they have said, well, that's my picture. Well, if you have a receipt showing that you actually purchased that picture, then you all have access to it. There's so many places. Just look up stock photos to find natural hair models, but we tend to see a lot of those same models going over and over again. So if you can get models for your company, that will be so much better. But again, make sure you have your forms in place so that way you're not violating any copyright rules, and then also make sure that you copyright it and tag it.
Yeah. And also, it just depends on what country you're living in, too, because every country has different rules when it comes to copyrights and sharing photos.
Very true. Very true.
Yep. So it is now the end of our broadcast. I'm so happy that you were able to take the time out to share so much great information. I mean, I've even learned a lot that I'm going to start implementing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I really, really appreciate it. And again, if anyone out there has questions, please feel free to contact me. I think there's enough room for all of us to grow together. And so, like I said, don't feel free to contact me, Scarlett, for any of your questions.
Yep. All right. Thanks a lot, Charlene. And
Yeah.
so just one last thing. So we see like your banner behind you. It has a phone number. Would that be a good number if someone wanted to use you for consulting? Would that be a good number for them to reach you?
Yes, definitely. I'm sure you can see it, but I'll tell you it's 405-819-5048. And that's actually my business cell phone, so you can call me or text me at that number.
Great, great. Thanks a lot, and have an awesome rest of your day.
You too. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.